Welcome to Defending Digital. I'm Chad Warner. Today's topic, the best internet safety podcasts for parents. Do you love podcasts as much as I do? I've been a major podcast consumer since 2004. Since then, I've subscribed to many podcasts about internet safety and security. For the past couple of years, I've found podcasts that help parents protect their kids online. I've also started my own podcast, which you're listening to, on the topic. Now, I'd like to share with you a few podcasts that could help you. The Threat. You don't need me to tell you that technology changes quickly. The internet that your kids use is not the one that you used as a kid, assuming the internet even existed when you were a kid. Some parents pick up tips for protecting their kids online because they have careers in IT or education or government or some other field that's related to online safety. But most parents' jobs don't have anything to do with internet safety. If that's the case for you, you need to learn from others. Internet safety is an area where what you don't know can hurt you or hurt your kids. In this case, ignorance is certainly not bliss. How to protect your kids. Fortunately, there are several podcasts that can give you the information and advice that you need. They cover various aspects of internet safety so that you can protect your kids online and teach them to defend themselves. Now, disclaimer, I don't necessarily endorse all of the content of every podcast that I'm going to list here. And you want to check out the blog post that goes along with this episode at defendingdigital.com. because I have links to the different podcasts. So it's just much easier to find them that way. So the first is Protect Kids Online. This is a podcast from the Wisconsin Department of Justice from their Internet Crimes Against Children, or ICAC, task force. The hosts use their online crime fighting experience to educate parents. Topics include potentially dangerous apps, online child exploitation, internet safety laws, and cyberbullying. Next is Commando on Demand. Host Kim Commando covers a range of technology topics on her shows, but in this podcast, she frequently discusses internet safety for kids. Topics include online child exploitation, online harassment, digital reputation, protecting personal data, privacy, avoiding hackers, avoiding scams, and screen time. The next podcast is called Their Own Devices, and there, a tech and privacy advisor and an adolescent medical doctor use their professional expertise and parenting experience to discuss the challenges that parents face in raising the next generation. Topics include how kids use technology, setting rules, digital reputation, sexting, video games, social media, privacy, and screen time. Next podcast is Connect Safely, and that podcast is from Connect Safely, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to educating users of connected technology about safety, privacy, and security. They often interview experts in fields related to internet safety. Topics include cyberbullying, video games, the right ages for devices, screen time, social media, and inappropriate content. Next is the PG Podcast. Now, there have only been a few episodes of this podcast, which describes itself as, quote, helping parents keep their kids safe in a technology-driven world, end quote. Topics include communicating with kids, cyberbullying, privacy, screen time, and digital estate planning. And then I've saved the best for last, of course, which is the podcast you're listening to right now, the Defending Digital podcast. So this is my own podcast in which I share internet safety, security, and digital parenting tips. You learn about protecting kids online, cyber safety, in other words, and general digital security and privacy tips, which are useful for adults as well as for kids. Topics include internet filtering, parental controls, child exploitation, cyberbullying, digital reputation, sexting, social media, and avoiding hackers. And I hope you've been a longtime fan of the Defending Digital podcast. If you're not, you can go to defendingdigital.com/podcast, and there you can find the archive of episodes, and you can subscribe there. While you're there, I'd love it if you would leave a rating or review and tell your friends about the podcast. Now, are there any other internet safety podcasts that you recommend as a parent? If there are, go to the blog post that goes along with this episode at defendingdigital.com, and in the comments section, put the name or put a link to the podcast that you recommend. I'd love to hear about them. What you should do. 1. Check out the podcast that I have described here and subscribe to those that most interest you. 2. Use the information and advice that you get from these podcasts to protect your kids online and to teach them to defend themselves. And 3, if there are any other internet safety podcasts that you recommend for parents, please share them in the comments. Thanks.